Hi guys. So today's video is going to be the Booktube Giving Tag, and this is a tag that I created toward this time last year, and the idea of it was to shed some light on an organization called Save the Children. Save the Children is a charity that helps children all over the world, and it helps them essentially in every area of their life, whether that be healthcare or education, things of that sort. So I just thought it would be the perfect time to do this tag again. Last year my goal was to try and raise $500 because it said on their website that $500 raised buys an entire bookshelf filled with books for kids, and so this year I am upping it to $1,000 for the goal. I will always have the link in the description bar of my video, so if you're interested in donating, you can check out the link there. I wanted to make this fundraiser a tag though, because that way in the event that you can't donate, you can still have fun with this tag. You can try and still raise awareness, and you can do this on your Bookstagram, you can do this on your own channels, you can do it on your blogs, and even if I don't tag you, because I'm going to tag a bunch of people in the description bar, you are still of course welcome to do it. Getting into the tag itself, every single question has some form of the word give in it, and the first question says, what's a book you would give everyone if you could? If I could, I'd give everybody their favorite book, but if I have to pick a specific book, this is kind of, I feel like kind of a jerk reason to want to give this book to everybody, but the book Burial Rites, which I've mentioned many times on my channel, is by Hannah Kent. It's based on a true story about the last woman to be executed in Iceland, and it's such a bleak, tragic story, but I feel like it gives people empathy, which in general I think lots of people could, you know, we could all use a little more empathy. Question number 2 says, what's a book you couldn't give a rat's hiney about? I don't curse, it's supposed to be the A word right there, but for those of you who have never heard that phrase, what it's essentially saying is, what's a book you couldn't care less about? Sorry to all of you who are really big fans of It by Stephen King, but I could not care less about that book. I'm a teacher, so I don't really have a desire to read about kids getting murdered, and I'm not really into the horror genre in general. It's just not for me. I'm such a pansy. And also, I know lots of people have said it's not that bad, but that scene in that book where the 13-year-old girl and all her friends who happen to be boys, they're lost, and she's like, I have an idea. I know how we can not be lost anymore. All of you should do me, and then I bet we'll be able to figure out how to get out of here. That makes perfect sense. I don't really think it makes sense, and I don't really want to read about a child orgy fest. Question number 3 says, given that the holidays are coming up, what's a book you hope someone buys for you? And I have lots of books. I don't really need any more books, but I will say I have been searching at my local used bookstores for the first book in the original Red Rising trilogy in hardback, because I have the second and the third one in hardback, but not the first, and I can never find it. They never have it, and if somebody just gave it to me, I wouldn't object. Question number 4 is, what's a book or series you've given up on? I'm sorry to those of you that are fans of the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks, but that's a series that I'm not really interested in continuing, mainly because I didn't really care for any of the main characters. I thought they were all super annoying, but also because I'm never really a fan of any kind of plot device, plot line, I suppose you could say, that goes along these lines, which is, this man raped me, but he was nice to me the next day, so I guess I love him. That's just not really my favorite thing. I feel like I've been super negative in this video. The next question will be a happy, positive one. It says, who is a character you wish an author would give more time to? Syl and Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive. The Stormlight Archive has lots of really cool characters. Dalinar's awesome. Yasin's a boss. But Kaladin is where it's at. Kaladin and Syl. Kaladin is awesome, and I love him, and Syl is pure preciousness, and I love her too, and the two of them together are just perfect. The next question is, who's a character you wish an author would give less time to? Back to the negatives. Ah. So in question 4, I mentioned that I mainly just didn't like any of the characters in Black Prism, and that is, I feel like, an understatement. I hated Kip. Kip is the most annoying character I've ever encountered in any book. I mean, there are characters I've hated more as far as they're evil and you want them to die. And even though Kip was supposed to kind of be one of the good guys, at least in the first book, you're supposed to kind of root for him, I wanted him to die too. I couldn't stand him. He's hypocritical. He whines all the time. He doesn't learn. There's no character growth with him. He continues to kind of get worse as the story goes on, and he's kind of a little creep. The next question says, if you had to give up almost all of your books, which ones would you keep? And I would keep my UK Sandersons because they all go together. The artwork on the covers is beautiful, and I love the Cosmere books. And then I would keep my various Mistborn editions because I happen to really like Mistborn. Next question is, what's the best book or bookish thing you've ever been given? And I'm gonna go ahead and go with bookish thing and say my book light, because I use that thing all the time. Question number 9 says, what's a book someone gave you that you wish you could give right back? And I normally would say that that's a hard question for me to answer, because if anybody gives me anything, I just think it's really generous for people to gift me with something. But in this case, I actually do have a perfect answer to this. Somebody gave us, they had a duplicate of this one book, and so they gave us their duplicate, and that book happens to be way into a series that we don't own any of the other books in that series, and we don't plan on getting any of the other books in that series, so we just had a random copy of like the 13th book. But I couldn't just hand the book right back and be like, no, we don't want this, why would we want this? Because it was one of those things where somebody gave it to somebody to give to us, so I didn't want to inconvenience the middleman and be like, no, you take it back and then you ship it to them, or something like that would have been really rude. The last question, question 10, says, name a time in a book that a character was given something really meaningful, and I can't really say what it was, but in the book, the very cutesy book, Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch, there was, at the end, the main character gives a different person something, and it was really meaningful to them, but I can't say what it was or I would spoil it. Anyway, that is it for the Booktube Giving Tag. As I said at the beginning of the video, I will have the link to the organization in the description bar down below, and I'll have all the questions along with a bunch of people that I tag. If any of you do this tag, please feel free to leave the link to your video in the comment section down below. I would love to see your answers to this. Thanks so much for watching. Happy reading to all of you. Happy holiday season coming up, and I'll see you later. Bye.